Hey everybody, welcome to Local Business Hacks Podcast. I'm your host, Carl Case, and I'm on a mission to help you. Every week, we're going to be talking to local business owners and experts to get their best tips, tricks, and hacks to grow your business. This show is designed to teach you, inspire you, and motivate you to take massive action and start to build your future-proof business. Whether you're just starting off or you're taking your existing business to the next level, this episode is for you. So let's get started. Hey, local business hackers. I'm your host, Carl Case, head of global business development at Referrizer, joined today by CEO of Kidz, Christopher Rego. Chris, welcome to Local Business Hacks.
Excited and happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. So, Chris, I personally think that you have one of the coolest stories, especially in this space. Before we dive into what Kidz is, talk to me a little bit about you and your journey to get to this point within this organization.
Okay. My name is Christopher Rego, the CEO of Kidz. This journey has been a very cool and a wild journey for me to get to this place. I basically started off on the software side of the business. I've been always a software engineer, managing large teams for almost 10 to 12 years when I decided to start my own company. And that was always been my goal, to be an entrepreneur, to start a company of my own. And I did that when I was in India. When I completed my MBA, the first thing that I went to my dad and said, I don't want to go and work for someone else. I want to start a business of my own. And he looked at me and he said, do what makes you happy and make sure you do it well. So I started a business, a resort company of my own in India, learned a lot. The company did well for a few years, and then it ran into multiple things and multiple issues, and it failed. And I was extremely disappointed. And then I went back to my dad and he said, don't worry, you learn from your failures, get over it, and do something better next time. And with that said, I came into the US, I became a software engineer, and I've always dreamt of owning my own company. And finally, I said, I got to take the risk. Forget about what happened in the past. Take the risk. Without the risk, there is no reward. And just make sure it's a calculated risk that you take. And so I started my own software company in 2012. And it was doing really well. And I wanted to diversify from the software business. I'm saying, okay, I've been in this software line for a very, very long time. Let me diversify into something else. And I started looking at the food industry. Where can I invest money into? Should I look at the food industry? Should I look at the education industry? And finally, I made the right decision. I said, let's go for education. And I seen my son very, very hooked on to Legos. There was Legos everywhere. I came across Kidz in 2013, and I said, this is the company that I want to go with, and I want to basically do and teach everything that is related to STEM. So I became a franchise owner in 2013 and followed that up with becoming a master franchise in Dubai. I went to Dubai because my brother-in-law was there. I looked at everything around Dubai and said, this is an amazing place to go and do your business. So I became the master franchise for Kidz for Dubai. And things went well for a period of time till the time that the company, which was Creative Learning, ran into multiple other issues. And that made me think that I want to basically take over this company and show it exactly what to do. After so much of hurdles and wild rides, I did become the CEO of Creative Learning Corporation, which was a public company, and the CEO of Bricks for Kids 2020. I followed that up by acquiring the company in 2022. So that's my journey of what I took. But in this journey, I learned a lot of things that you got to take the risk. Without risk, there's no rewards. The journey wasn't so comfortable. I can tell you that. The path to success is always a steady uphill ride. You're going to do a lot of wrong things, failures. There's a lot of no-nos, but you got to basically be intelligent, manage those risks. You push through all those challenges and push through all those odds that are going against you, and that will set you up for success. And that's what I learned. And it was a great learning experience from my first failure as a business. And I think I was too young to immediately start a business, but it just taught me that failures is a stepping stone for success. You learn from your failures.
It's amazing. Congratulations, Chris. You are the first person that I have ever interviewed on our Local Business Hacks podcast, or personally, that has ever come into a company and acquired it from being a public company now to a privately held company with how many locations, and where can people find Bricks for Kids?
So we are almost in 300 plus locations in the US. We are growing like crazy. We have in 40 international countries. So we are global. So if you go to Australia, you'll find us. You go to Europe, we are there. So we are a global company across the world. Our programs have reached 2 million children, and we are the largest providers of STEM education. And everyone can get to us just going to our website, bricksforkids.com. And if anyone wants to become a franchise owner, just go to the franchise information page, send us an email, give us a call, and we're ready to bring you into the Bricks for Kids family.
Amazing. Chris, congratulations to you and Bricks for Kids for getting to this point to be a global powerhouse in childhood education. It's incredible. Shifting gears a little bit, obviously, you've done something incredibly unique over the years, and now being the head of this organization, let's focus on what our podcast is about, local business hacks. So I welcome you to share one of your favorite hacks in regards to whether it be a franchisee or from a franchisor perspective. What's something that's in your toolbox that you're so happy that you've learned throughout your career?
So here's what we basically have done. This company that we have has more than a decade of working with market leaders, education engineers to deliver learning experiences that bring to life in classrooms and make learning more interesting and impactful. That's something that I want to basically make sure how we are unique compared to the rest of the competitors or companies out there. We make sure that we are aligned with standard of digital literacy. The programming environment that we have interfaces with ideas and improves the child proficiency, and they are used by many educational institutes. And we want to also make sure the learning happens with a lot of hands-on activities.
So provide value, make sure that your franchisees are always taken care of. What else would you say is something that you learned early on that you continue to implement in your day-to-day?
So what we learned early on and we continue to implement is to listen to your franchisees. It's extremely important to make sure that you listen to them and you understand the requirements, what they need. And so that's the reason we have an advisory committee that has franchisees that talk to us every quarter to let us know what we are doing well and what we are not doing well, right? So one biggest thing is to listen to them. The second one is to understand and to provide them the best customer support. And that's extremely valuable. And also the tools needed and the resources needed to be successful. So if our franchisees are not successful, it basically reflects back to the company and to what we are doing. And we will not have been successful if we do not provide the resources, the tools, and the support to our franchise owners. And it's all about the ROI, the return of investment, and to make sure that you invested in us, and we want to make sure you have all the support, all the help, all the tools that you need. And you can always not only call the corporate staff, but you can always pick up the call and call me at any time.
I love that. I love that. Direct access to the CEO.
Right.
Chris, changing a little bit and getting into Bricks for Kids, what would you say the biggest challenge that Bricks for Kids is facing today and how you're tackling it?
So the biggest challenge, we had a challenge during COVID time, and that was the biggest challenge that we had, wherein we were more, not a brick and mortar, but we used to take our programs to classes and schools, which were shut down. And we were mostly not an online company. Everything was done at schools. So we had to adapt ourselves to the changing situation and move from going to schools to adapt to being online. And we did it rather fast, very quickly. That was one of the biggest challenges that we faced during COVID time. Now, currently, the bigger challenge for us is that we are growing extremely fast, and we need to make sure with the growth that we have, we still are able to handhold our franchisees and make sure that they are getting all the required support to make them successful. That's extremely important. And the next challenge, I would say, is more on the marketing and improving the brand and making sure our brand reaches out across the globe.
Well, luckily, I know a company called Referrizer that's helping you do that.
And that's why I brought in Referrizer. And I said, the biggest challenge, and it's a challenge not only for the company, it's a big challenge for the franchise owners, because when they come and they become owners, they don't know anything about marketing, social media ads, and how do I basically go out on Google? How do I basically do a campaign? And that's where we needed a lot of help. And that's the time that I said, who else can help us in getting us out there and being successful? And Referrizer is the one that I reached out to.
Thanks, Chris. We're excited to help Bricks for Kids continue to become a global powerhouse. Chris, I'm curious about you personally. At what time of day do you typically get your best work done?
I start my day at around 6:30 in the morning, and I end my day at about 3 in the morning. So that's the long hours that I start, and I probably take a 3-hour break. I would say a break rather than a sleep, because when I'm sleeping, I'm always thinking what I have for the next day. But my productivity, like I said, it's from the time I start at 6:30 in the morning till I go to sleep, there are always multiple things I'm working on, working with the curriculum team. I'm also working pretty late in the night because it's a global company. I still need to talk to the people in Europe, the people in Australia, UK, along with the team that I have in Dubai. So we have an office in Dubai, and I have to coordinate and talk to the team in Dubai too.
Team no sleep. So you're productive. You got no choice but to be productive all day.
I have no choice to be productive all day, but you got to basically understand you have the luxury right? Takes a lot out of you, but you have the luxury of being able to do what you want, when you want, and you set your own goals. You work towards the goals that you set for. But a lot of people also forget about the long years of hard work. And when I say hard work, time, sacrifices that it takes to reach that level of freedom, right? It does take a lot of sacrifice and time. And I have been sacrificing my time from the time that I basically became the CEO from 2020, put in all these hours. But but I love what I do. No complaints.
That's awesome. Chris, if you were to tell me who your most important personal mentor is in 2023, who would it be?
Elon Musk.
Really? Anything specific about him?
The guy basically believes in himself. He knows that he works long hours. He's got multiple companies. I believe he does the right thing. Great leader. And he's always innovating, right? So that is what we are. We basically want to make sure we bring the inspiration and innovation to every student in the world. And we want to empower students to become tomorrow's innovators. And I think Elon is always thinking of innovating to do something new, something that helps everyone, right?
Awesome. Chris, if you were to go back and look at 18-year-old Christopher Rego, what advice would you give little Chris?
The advice that I would give myself is, I would say, get the experience first before you basically walk into to be an entrepreneur. You probably want to get a job, get the experience for a few years, learn from the job, because when you're just out of college, there's a whole lot of things that is involved when you want to become an entrepreneur. I felt that I failed just because I did not have the experience to do the right things. And so I would have done, now if I go back when I was 18 and when I came out, I probably will say, go get a great job, learn from your job, learn from your mistakes, come back and then fulfill your dreams.
That's awesome. And fast forward today, another cool thing that I'd love to explore is talk to me about working with your son as a side-by-side CEO of the organization.
Oh, wow. So my son was working with me when I actually took the franchise in 2013. He came with me to Florida for Discovery Day. We met the founders there. We came back, and from day one, he worked with me at all the summer camps every year. He was engaged from 2013 till today. He was closely working with Bricks for Kidz. And he has learned a lot in this journey. And every day, he always comes out with cool ideas and cool things. And the most recent thing that he introduced was smart business cards. So when we basically have the training with our owners, we normally give them the normal visiting cards saying, hey, here is 500 visiting cards. And he told me, Dad, that is totally gone. What has happened to you? You have a training program happening again. And are you going to give them these visiting cards to put in their purse and they forget it? I said, what else is there, son? I said, Dad, haven't you heard of smart business cards? I said, no. Okay, let me get you one. So he introduced smart business card to me, and I passed that on to my franchise owners, the new franchise owners. And so going forward, every time that we get a new franchisee, they're now no more going to get these visiting cards. They're going to get a smart business card. And the franchisees, they just loved it. They said, wow, this is amazing. This is awesome. So he continues to inspire me with all his creative ideas that he comes and he continues to work very closely with me. And he has learned the business. He's learned the business very well. And now he's a senior. Hopefully, he'll continue to work close and help me out in the business. And I think it's a great father-son relation.
I love that. Love that. Well, Chris, before we end up today, how can people get a hold of you?
Or they can always get a hold of me through my email, crego@bricksforkids.com. They can actually call me anytime, as well as go to our website. They go to our website, bricksforkids.com, click contact us. You can always see that form. They can get a hold of me through that contact us form too.
I love it. Well, Chris, from our listeners all over the globe and for the team over here at Referrizer and Local Business Hacks, we thank you and Bricks for Kids for being a great partner and a great guest on our podcast.
Thank you so much, Carl.
Thank you so much. That's it for this week's episode. I hope you found it helpful. Be sure to head over to our site, local-business-hacks.com, to check out the show notes and send me questions or ideas for future episodes. If you want to grow your business, just like the people you've heard from here, follow Local Business Hacks Podcast and tune in for new tips, tricks, and tactics. Until next time, thanks for listening and keep hacking.